the Volkswagen Golf GTI. It's the performance hatch that everyone knows and that shaped the hot hatch as we know it, and that every hot hatch must compare to. Not surprisingly, given that Volkswagen has sold over 2 million GTIs since it was introduced in 1975. And of all of the generations, we've had 7 so far and are welcoming in the 8th, we have picked this, the Mark V, as the pick of the used options. Not too old, not too new, it is stonking value and one of the best GTIs of them all. Before we get stuck into our drive of the venerable Mark V Golf GTI, here is a quick reminder to give this video a like, hit subscribe and turn on notifications by ringing the little bell icon so you'll know when our new films go live. The Mark V Golf arrived on a completely new platform in 2005. While it stuck to the familiar recipe of a potent 4-pot petrol engine, front-wheel drive, family-friendly body and affordable price tag, it elevated the GTI out of a rather underwhelming period through the late 90s and early noughties. It's a good family car too. Access to the back seats in the 3-door isn't so great, but you can get the GTI with 5 doors, and the boot is a really decent size. It brought the GTI back to greatness, mostly thanks to an outstanding 197 brake horsepower, 2-litre turbocharged motor, and a really awesome chassis. Not only that, but it looked really good. One of the stealthier looking hot hatches of the time, but the honeycomb grille, the red line, those alloys, it was unmistakable then, just as it is now. From the vantage point of 2020, power of 197 brake, torque of 201 foot-pounds, and a 0 to 62 of just 7.2 seconds sounds pretty weedy, doesn't it? I mean, a Fiesta does better than that these days. But do you know what? This car does not feel like it needs more power. I have to say, it feels absolutely spot on for most British roads, and it's down to this engine because the power delivery on it is just lovely. It's got a really nice sort of velvety exhaust note, very sort of mechanical sound compared to the very sort of synthesised noise that you get in quite a lot of modern hot hatches, of course. It just feels peachy, really lovely. It's also pretty comfortable as well. Now, the GTI was dropped about 15 mils over the standard Golf. It is quite firmly sprung, so you get a bit of a kind of bouncy effect over undulating roads, but it's never too bad, I have to say. It's very easy to live with this car, and that's what you want. It's got really nice sort of progressive steering, just everything about it really gels. Do go for the manual though, because you could get this car with a dual clutch automatic, and although that kind of sounds good if you're going to be doing a lot of commuting or anything, honestly, the manual gearbox is sweet, really lovely to use, it's no chore at all, really nice light clutch, and it just hangs the car together really well. It really does make it a much nicer thing to drive. I don't think you can really criticise it beyond, you know, if you do really want an in-your-face, really sharp-edged kind of hot hatch experience, then maybe something like a Type R is going to suit you better, but that's going to be a lot more tiresome to live with. The only area that it does disappoint is with the dash, because this feels really dated now, and I mean this is a very well cared for example, so it still looks okay, but it's not going to wear too brilliantly in cars that have done a lot of mileage. So if you do really want a car that's got a nicer interior, maybe look to the Mark VI Golf GTI, which had quite an improvement in the quality, because some of these plastics are a bit scratchy and it's just very old-fashioned, essentially. Having said that, it does feel pretty well built. It does look cheap, yes, but there are no squeaks and rattles, and there's not actually much to worry about with reliability on the Mark V either. The trick is to look for a well-maintained one, as there are a lot of neglected examples. As long as the Golf is serviced annually and generally cared for, it should wear well. Look out for turbo issues, which can suggest problems with the PCV valve or the diverter valve, which can also cause boost problems. Uneven wear on the rear tyres suggests you'll need new dampers sooner rather than later, and look for signs of a leak from the radiator, but otherwise there's very little to worry about. Basically, you just cannot go wrong with one of these. If you are after a hot hatch that really brings out the yob in you, then probably this isn't it. But other than that, it's great value, it's affordable to run, it's fantastic fun, it's even easy to live with. By the standards of pretty much all of the modern GTIs, the Mark V, more than most, truly deserves its iconic status. From 2008 you could get the GTI with the leather seats that you see here, but we would go for the tartan upholstery every time because it just looks so cool. You can also look out for some of the special editions. The Edition 30 celebrated the GTI's 30th anniversary, and it got an extra 30 brake horsepower, so that is well worth looking out for. Whichever GTI you are after, whether it's the Mark V, the excellent and now temptingly affordable Mark 7, or even the now legendary, if less affordable Club Sport S, there are loads of great used examples for sale on cargurus.co.uk. It's the place to go to find great deals from top-rated dealers, and before you head there, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications.